Hello my friends and welcome to the ninth class in our writing course. Today my friends we are going to carry on talking about sentences, and specifically we're going to talk about complex sentences. Allow me my friends, as usual, before I start this class, to give you a quick revision of the most important information we have learned so far. In the previous 9 classes we have started talking about words, and we said that there are two types or two classes of words. The first one is called the content words, while the other called the function words. Again, my friends, we covered the 4 types of content words: nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs. Then we moved to talk about phrases, and we said that a phrase could be one word or a group of words that doesn't include a subject and its verb together. And we said that we have 5 types of phrases: noun phrases, verb phrases, adjective phrases, adverb phrases, and propositional phrases. Then we talked about clauses, and we said that a clause is a group of words containing a verb and its subject together. And we said, my friends, that we have 2 types of clauses. The first type is called independent clauses. The second one was dependent. For the independent clause, an independent clause expresses a complete thought, which means if someone says it to you, you're going to understand a full idea, and here can stand alone as a simple sentence, which means if I use an independent clause and I add a period or a full stop at the end of it, I have here a complete simple sentence, and it also begins with a subject, which is a noun phrase. Generally, my friends, an independent clause can be a full simple sentence like what you see here: Ramzi is a good friend of mine. This expresses a complete thought and can stand alone as a simple sentence if I add a period to it, and also it begins with a subject, which is a noun phrase. While a dependent clause, my friends, doesn't express a complete thought, because generally the idea of it is incomplete. For example, here, if I say to you, because Ramzi is a good friend of mine, if I say this piece of information for you and I stop talking, you are going to ask me about further information, because as you see, the idea is not complete. You tell me, teacher, oh, okay, Ramzi is your good friend, and because Ramzi is a good friend of yours, what happened? For example, I say, because Ramzi is a good friend of mine, I helped him with his homework. Because Ramzi is a good friend of mine, I usually go and visit him at his house. Because Ramzi is a good friend of mine, I always talk to him regularly. And here, my friends, it doesn't express a full meaning or a complete thought and cannot stand alone, because if I add here a period or a full stop, and because of this is incomplete, I will have a fragment writing error. Again, my friends, it doesn't begin with a subject or a noun phrase. A dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction, and in our case here, it is the word because. So generally, an independent clause can stand alone as a sentence and it conveys a full meaning, while a dependent clause cannot stand alone because it gives or conveys an incomplete message. Today, my friends, we are going to talk about complex sentences, and as we all know, a simple sentence is one independent clause, while a compound sentence is one or more independent clauses. Finally, my friends, a complex sentence is made up of one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. That's why, my friends, a lot of grammarians and linguists prefer to call the complex sentence as a hybrid sentence, because it contains 2 different types of clauses: the independent and the dependent ones. And the question, my friends, now is how many types of complex sentences do we have? Generally, my friends, because we have three types of dependent clauses, we have three types of complex sentences. And here we have the first type of dependent clauses, which is called dependent adverb clauses. And we have dependent adjective clauses and dependent noun clauses. That's why we have different types of complex sentences. Again, my friends, why don't we have, for example, types of compound sentences? Because generally we have two or more independent clauses, and here we have dependent clauses in the complex sentences, and we have different types of dependent clauses. That's why we have different types of complex sentences. Let's discuss the first type of complex sentences, which is complex sentences with adverb clauses. We have three types of them. The first type is called to tell why. The second one, to tell when and where. The third one is to introduce an opposite idea. Let's start with the first type, my friends, a complex sentence with an adverb clause. And here, my friends, to tell why. We have because and since and as. Hereby, my friends, three examples. The first one, since nobody wanted to participate, we will cancel the competition. Second one, as the weather will be so bad next week, schools will be closed and give online classes. And third one, because she didn't pass her exam, she was grounded for 2 weeks. Here, my friends, a lot of students generally have been asking me, what is the difference between since, as, and because? My friends, generally we use because to give a reason of something. And here, for example, because she didn't pass the exam, she was grounded for 2 weeks. And here I give a reason of an action or an incident. And here, my friends, the reason that she was grounded for 2 weeks is that because she didn't pass her exams. In here, again, I use because in order to give a reason for something. While when I use since and as, which generally used to explain a situation and its consequences, and they have the same exact meaning, which means that they can be used interchangeably. Since and as are 100% the same. In here, my friends, we say, since nobody wanted to participate, or as nobody wanted to participate. In here, both options are accepted. In here, since the weather will be so bad next week, schools will be closed. Again, my friends, in here we are explaining a situation and the consequences of these situations, while here we're only giving a reason of something. I didn't come to school because I was sick. In here, I am giving a reason for something that happened. Again, my friends, to understand more, you can always use the book Grammar in Use, which is going to explain the difference for you clearly and better. Again, my friends, we have a comma rule. The comma rule stipulates that if a complex sentence begins with a dependent clause, a comma should always be put after it immediately. In here, my friends, I say, since nobody wanted to participate, I started with the dependent clause, which is the since clause. I add a comma. And here, my friend, as the weather will be bad next week, also, I started with the dependent clause here. At the end of the dependent clause, I should use a comma. I should separate the dependent from the independent clause with a comma. Again, here, my friends, because she didn't pass her exam, I started with the dependent clause. That's why I separated it with a comma. While in this example here, I didn't come to school because I was sick. And here, my friends, I started with the independent clause. That's why I didn't use a comma before because. If I said Because I was sick yesterday, for example, I should use a comma, then I say I didn't come to school. Again, here, my friends, this sentence, since nobody wanted to participate, we will cancel the competition. I can delete this one here. I start from here. We will cancel the competition since nobody wanted to participate. If I start the sentence from here, I shouldn't use a comma, while if I start with a dependent clause, I should use a comma, and I hope you understand my point. Again, my friends, the same sentence here. As the weather will be so bad next week, schools will be closed and give online classes. I can move this independent clause to the beginning. I say schools will be closed and give online classes, and I don't use a comma, and I continue saying as the weather will be so bad next week. I hope you understood the comma rule, because, my friends, because generally a lot of students make mistakes in the IELTS, TOEFL proficiency exams. So please, my friends, try to be aware of this problem. Now, my friends, let's talk about the second type of complex sentences with adverb clauses, which is to tell when and where. Let me give you an example here, my friend. When you called me, I was working in the kitchen. Or I say, while my friends were playing, I was studying hard. Generally, my friends, in here I have, let me say, a very important point to explain. Generally, my friends, we use when and while to link the past simple and the past continuous together. This needs a full class, full grammar class generally, but I would like to say that if I use when, I have to use the past simple immediately after it. When I use while, I need to use the past continuous. And here, my friends, I recommend students to revise past simple with past continuous together from the same book, Grammar in Use. And I hope that in the near future, I will start a grammar course after I finish this writing course, and I will explain how to link these two tenses and how to use them in isolation. Here, my friends, the other example, before you lived in New York, where had you lived? And here, my friends, I am linking the past perfect with the past simple. And generally, a past perfect means the past of the past. We use the past perfect to express an action that happened before in the past before another action. And here, my friends, I say, what did you eat after you had played sport? Again, my friends, I hope in the upcoming course, which is going to be grammar course, I would explain the past perfect. Let's say I will explain the past perfect clearer, and I will make it easier for you. Again, my friends, the third type of the complex sentences with adverb clauses is called to introduce an opposite idea. And I have here although, even though, and though. Again, my friends, I had a lot of questions about the differences between although, even though, and though. Generally, my friends, though is informal and spoken. That doesn't mean that we cannot use it in the formal or academic writing, but I don't prefer using it. I prefer using although and even though, which are formal, and they are 100% the same. Again, my friends, here I say, although Sarah hadn't studied a word for the exam, she got the full mark. Or I can say, even though Sarah hadn't studied a word for the exam, she got the full mark. Here, even though nobody helped me, my project was a great success. And generally, we use although and even though to express a contradiction between a situation and its unexpected results. When the results of a situation are unexpected, we use although, and even though, especially when we prefer to use a complex sentence. Again, my friends, I would like to mention a very important point here. If I rewrite this sentence, I can say I delete, although I say only Sarah had not studied a word for the exam. I here will not use although, I will use yet. She got the full mark, the same thing. And here, my friends, this is a compound sentence, and it contains two independent clauses linked with a coordinator or a fan voice. And here, my friends, we have a complex sentence which includes a dependent clause and independent clause. Again, my friends, here I put my hand here to delete, even though I say nobody helped me. Again, I can use yet. My project was a great success. I can carry on using the same words. And here, my friends, the first sentence, which is this one, is a complex sentence which includes a dependent clause with an independent clause. And here we have a compound sentence here. As long as I don't use a subordinator here, the clause becomes independent, and I have here two independent clauses in one compound sentence which are linked with a coordinator. Here again, my friends, they said that the match will be tomorrow, point, full stop. They didn't say what time though. Again, my friends, we can use though at the end or at the beginning of the independent clause, but generally it is informal and I don't prefer using it. Thank you, my friends. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this class. Again, my friends, the classes now are becoming harder and harder, so I would recommend you to replay this video again and play some Kahoot games which are related to complex sentences, which you will find in the description box and on my Kahoot profile on the website. Thank you again, my friends, and I hope you enjoyed this class. Try to get in touch with me if you have any questions. Goodbye.